And we are live. We're live.
We are live. We are the Porter Brothers. I'm David Porter, and this is Bruce Porter Jr. joining me here live. How are you, Bruce?
I'm doing fantastic. It's January 23rd,
That's
2024.
right. Yep, it's early start on the year, and plenty of work has been put in already. How about those ETFs? How about this Middle East? How about Ukraine?
I'll tell you what, we
We're,
did our show this morning. We couldn't even talk about it all. It was like, there's so
yep,
much going
yep.
on.
I mean, you have Trump in the mix, and you have these New Hampshire electing a representative.
New Hampshire. Is that how they say it in Ireland, David?
I don't know how they say it. Sometimes it's hard to understand. Not gonna
I know
lie.
it is. I know it is, right? Yeah, so New Hampshire polls are open. I think that we're going to see a resounding whooping by our man, Mr. President there, Donald Trump.
There
As
is a bit of overwhelming support for Trump, right? You still see the stadiums are packed. He's speaking all over, and I haven't seen another politician do it quite like that.
this guy is rock star status. Let's face it. I mean, who else? There's me in the background, right, talking. So I know how hard it is in order to entertain people up on a stage talking. And this man, he doesn't need a guitar. He doesn't need a band behind him. I mean, he is able to entertain people by talking to them. And that is really something else. Rock star status this guy has.
It's true. And it's really funny if you ever been to one of the speeches that he makes, he'll play these songs, these common songs that we all know, but he doesn't change and try to entertain as far as trying to find the most popular song out there or something like this. And he's got his topics and he rolls with them and he's got his punchlines and his sound bites and the crowd goes wild.
The crowd goes wild. Uh-oh. There we go. Everybody
I,
still here?
I got
Okay.
to catch one of his memorable speeches in Palm Beach. It was one that got a lot of plays on YouTube over and over again.
Really?
Historic. Yeah, back in 2016 or so. Yeah.
Nice. Well, I know we were obviously we were covering one of the events. It was funny. We went to cover an event and we ended up making a huge deal. It's pretty fun. It's always fun when that happens,
Oh yes. Oh
Yes.
yes.
Yes. So pretty cool. I think that the Roger Stone. I was just reading. Roger Stone came up on my feed, and of course Roger, right? He's been around forever. Back in the Nixon days, Roger has been around, close ally of President Trump as well. And he was talking about a number of things, but one of them was that Nikki Haley is being lined up to be the vice president.
For
What do you
Trump?
think?
With Trump?
Yes.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. And it's like, what is Trump gonna say? You know, he's gotta get the deal over the line.
Well, I mean, it's kind of one of those things. I feel like so Reagan back in the day, you're too young to remember, but Reagan, he had Bush. And nobody liked Bush, but everyone liked Reagan. Reagan was really he was like Trump until he got shot. After he got shot, he kind of played ball. Everything was deporting the illegals and doing all this stuff and everything else. They shot him, and then he kind of played ball. And then some of the stuff he did was really counter to what everything he had been campaigning on for all those years. But being shot, I guess, has that effect on people. And I want to welcome everybody on Smart Money TV as well. We're live in Texas, around Texas. Over millions and millions of people there in Texas are watching us. So that's or available to watch us, I should say, on stations there and Louisiana. So I want to welcome you guys. And then, of course, Trump had Pence, and who liked Pence, right? I mean, Pence was like the epitome of limp-wristed, old guard, GOP, Rhino, right? But there you had him, and then he was the all right, and so he had Pence, and of course Pence ended up by really selling us out in the end. Pence did have the authority to send those results back to the states, and if you question that fact, then I would let you go ahead and do a little bit of research and then come back to me on it, because they actually they legislatively changed the rule after the fact. And so why did they change the rule if he wasn't able to do it? So actually, and that's what a lot of people were waiting for, was that to get kicked back and if those results. But anyway, but if he ended up with Nikki Haley, that would just be, I hope not.
A slap to all involved.
I hope not. I mean, I think his son, from what I heard kind of through the grapevine, told him that she was extremely unpopular.
That's the funny part, right? I get that gist on there, and you might be right.
Yeah, I mean, she's very, very unpopular. But Trump he's the guy, right? So if he is the top of the ticket, I don't think people are not going to vote for Donald Trump because Nikki Haley is the VP. Now, will the GOP not fall in line if Nikki Haley is not the VP? I don't think. I think they'll fall in line either way. So I don't think he has to pick her. I hope. I've given up trying to force him to do things. He did a lot of things during his presidency that he didn't like. Well, I picked a lot of people that I didn't like, but you just got to kind of let the guy do this deal. But I do think that obviously when we voice our concerns, that it is good to do that. If you don't voice anything, you're nothing better than a slave. Which, speaking of, we're really not much better than slaves anyway. With this taxation that we have going on, unbelievable. I was reading over the weekend that the slaves in Egypt had to give away 20%. They had to give back 20% of their earnings because they were slaves.
Well, I mean, it's all about how you carry yourself, and you're able to represent yourself and speak for yourself. Otherwise, you're deemed incompetent, and you're assigned an attorney, and they will dictate what the outcome of your status will be. And it's a big, annoying process that the Bar Association, which is based out of England, believe it or not, has created for the American citizens.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Really, what we have going on. So let's see here. I'm just looking here at so the polls are open. Markets are down kind of overall. We have had a big run up. We saw all-time highs on the S&P 500. We saw all-time highs on the NASDAQ. So this is a direct reflection, really, of the printing of the money. I mean, you know what I mean? They are going to print. Their idea is to print their way out of this mess that they have that they've caused, and that will, of course, put more money into the market in order for things like stocks and other things that should rise. Now, we are seeing a bit of a strengthening of the dollar as we do this. And now one of the things and this is something that I say often and people don't get it. And you mentioned when I said this exact same thing the other day, you said you have to use both sides of your brain. But what the central banks do to remove currency and out of circulation, one of the things they do is they use commodities like Bitcoin or like other commodities, even stocks sometimes, and they will crash those markets. And if you don't think that the central banks trade, I invite you to do a little bit of research before you engage me on that, because they do.
That's what they do best.
Yes. So they crash the markets. They take all of that money away from the traders. Okay. So whether it's through liquidations or your holdings aren't worth that much, or you just sell, mostly liquidations and sales, right? And then they buy those assets back. And all the money in between, okay, and traders will do this as well, but all that money, if the central bank is doing it, all that money in between is basically, poof, it's gone. And so that's some of what we're seeing, in my opinion. We had the big run up on Bitcoin up to almost 50,000, announcing the ETFs, and then slammed down. Okay. So all of that money in between has just been taken out of circulation. And if you question that, go ask the traders where their money is. They don't have it anymore. Okay. And if they don't have the money, then what? They can't spend it. And if they can't spend it, it's taken out of circulation. Okay. And that's how it works. And that's why they push things up into a big bubble. And that's why, of course, the housing market, of course, has me worried as well, because we are on this big bubble. We'll see. I mean, I think that they continue just to print the money. We're in the point where they just keep printing it, and the housing market is not as easy to manipulate as commodities and stocks and stuff like that. So pretty interesting here. I'm going to pull up. There's some things here that I was talking about right before I tried to publish some stuff on my feed. I'm Networks Manager on X. I do enjoy X a lot. I find it to be very good way of disseminating information. I'm Networks Manager. David, of course, is Sir David Porter. So make sure you take a look at that. And this is actually what I was talking about here with the money supply. So someone had commented, hey, the stock market is going up because Trump is getting elected. And they said stocks are going up because the money supply keeps increasing, which devalues the buying power of a US dollars and pushes things like stocks higher. We're in an unending cycle of printing money and devaluing the US dollar via inflation. I don't know where it ends, but nowhere good. And that is a pretty, they're going to continue it. And you can see here the chart that I put here, the money supply in the S&P 500, which is an index of stocks. And you can see how it follows that trend, the money supply in the S&P 500. Some interesting things here. This is interesting as well. The International Logan Airport in Boston appears to be a shelter for migrants who have entered the United States illegally. Why do you think that the central banks, the U.S. Congress, the Supreme Court, and the White House support this type of mass migration? Hold that thought. And of course, you can comment under my posts as well as on YouTube and LinkedIn or anywhere else, and we'll pick those up. But let's listen to this report.
Dozens of migrants lined up, sleeping on the floor of Terminal E at Logan Airport. WBZ's Louisa Mueller is live for us at the State House tonight. Louisa, the video that we just showed was taken just a few days ago. So are the migrants still there at the airport?
David, I am told they are back there tonight, but they weren't there this morning when I visited. The migrants have told my contacts themselves that they're getting on buses and leaving during the day and coming back in the evening. So we asked lawmakers, is there a coordinated effort to move the migrants during the day? And what does that cost? And their answers were somewhat ambiguous.
Last week, our camera captured dozens of families sleeping on the floor of Terminal E at Logan. Little ones toddling across the floor and babies. The issue isn't new. Massport officials said migrant families were sleeping in Logan in November, but the numbers are startling. Some estimate more than 100 folks.
There's lots of children, a lot of children.
Medford woman Katura Dews has been visiting the airport, providing resources to the families and speaking with them.
A lot of well-care stuff, because a lot of them, while they're at the airport, they don't have access to a shower. So there's like some shower wipes, little towels just to clean up while they wait.
With the state proclaiming that there's no room to house more migrant families in emergency shelters, the question is, where are they going during the day?
Not to school, huh?
I mean, it is really it is a disaster. I cannot believe, and I'll go back to this in a second, but it is hard to believe that as a society that we are accepting this type of influx of people that are entering the country illegally. And from what we read or from what we hear, this is how Rome fell, right? They had this big influx of migration, and then I guess there wasn't like so much of a big war, right? It just kind of collapsed on itself, and then I don't know. There's probably more to the story there that we don't know, that they don't tell us about. But we're already, so there's basically all of the money that the federal government's taken in income taxes is going to already house and feed and everything for these migrants. I mean, there's really no way that I feel like in anybody's mind, this is okay.
No, even the people there themselves, they know it's not okay. I'm not sure what to do about it.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that those people are better sleeping on the floor of the airport, having to mill around the state during the day, just like, no jobs or anything else, than staying at home where they have a family? I mean, that's the thing people miss. These people have a family. And not only that, but they have a family, and now we're moving them here, and they're going to be dual citizens, okay? They're going to be citizens of their home country, and they're going to be citizens of our country. And you can look no further than our own government and look at who we have in positions of authority that have dual citizenship and what kind of mess that they're getting us in to realize that this is not a good situation. Migration is good to a point, but it's hard to fathom.
Well, it's this unnatural migration, right? And these people are coming here as far as running from danger or something like this, but we're not attacking the problem. We're not looking at the problem. Who is creating this danger from them? And why don't we do something about it there? And like you said, people will be able to stay with their families, to have their family with them, and to live their lives like they should be.
Absolutely. And it is, guys, look, it is coordinated. Okay. It's coordinated. Like, I mean, let's just call a spade. Okay. You have wars being started all over the place, right? We're in now our second year of war over in the Ukraine. However you want to say that started, I'll tell you, David and I have spent some time in both of those countries, and I can tell you, in the middle of Kiev, there is a guy on a horse, and he's pointing off into the distance. And I said, "Where's that guy pointing?" And they said, "He's pointing to Moscow." And the horse is like, whatever. It's like hundreds of years old, if not 1,000 years old. But these people have been fighting. They've been having these but they've been fighting for thousands of years. And then you go over to Israel, and we have now this just brimming over into the broader Middle East over there. And these people, they've also been fighting for thousands of years, and I mean, there's probably not an end in sight. And it was also interesting, Sweden, which I don't think is part of NATO, is participating in these exercises that we have going on. So I wanted to play that as well. This was a clip that I picked up here about the Steadfast Defender. NATO sends message to the world as they launch the Steadfast Defender exercise with all members and Sweden. Do you support NATO taking us into World War III? The questions are low on this. The answers are high, but they dubbed it fairly decent.
Ladies and gentlemen, the military committee chief will start off this press conference.
We today announced the kickoff of Exercise Steadfast Defender 2024, which commences next week and runs through May. Steadfast Defender 24 will be the largest NATO exercise in decades, with participation from approximately 90,000 forces from all 31 allies, plus our good partner, Sweden. The alliance will demonstrate its ability to reinforce the Euro-Atlantic area via transatlantic movement of forces from North America. This reinforcement will occur during a simulated emerging conflict scenario against a near-peer adversary. Steadfast Defender 24 will be a clear demonstration of our unity, our strength, and our determination to protect each other, protect, of course, our values and the rules-based international order.
Industrial base is able to produce weapons and ammunition fast enough. Sorry, the big difference with a year ago, I would say, Terry, is that there's a lot of things that have happened in the armed forces and in the defense organizations. What hasn't happened is in our societies, the understanding that it is more than the military that has to be able to operate in a conflict or in a war. It is the whole of society that will get involved, whether we like it or not. That realization, we didn't talk about that much a year ago. If you look back the last year, what has happened in our alliance with regard to the battle groups that we set up, if you look back to the training, the fact that we now have Steadfast Defender with 90,000 troops, that is a record number. That is a record number of troops that we can bring to bear and have an exercise with in that size. Across the alliance, across the ocean, from the US to Europe, in Europe. That is a big change.
Thanks a lot. I guess for Admiral Bow, for General Cawley.
People find it a surprise and as a result buy a radio on batteries. That is great. It is part of the package that the Swedish government is talking about. You need to have water, you need to have a radio on batteries, and you need to have a flashlight on batteries to make sure that you can survive the first 36 hours.
He forgot an essential thing that you probably would like to need.
It's like that. That's simple things. But it starts there. The realization that not everything is plannable, not everything is going to be hunky-dory in the next 20 years. I'm not saying it is going wrong tomorrow, but we have to realize it's not a given that we are in peace. And that's why we have the plans.
Thank you all very much. That's all we have time for this session. I want to remind everybody that the strategic foresight analysis.
What are you saying?
Well, this guy's military message is pretty disturbing. He's telling us that we should not expect peace when he is one of the men that is supposed to be securing our peace.
Yeah.
And also he tells you need to have water and some batteries for a flashlight. But what you really need is to protect yourself.
Well, that's true, right? How about some ammunition and something to protect yourself? We have to be careful, of course, because we don't want to be inciting and this and that. But I mean, guys, yeah, absolutely. Look, NATO, I think these guys are really a mess. We have NATO over there. They're poking the bear with Russia. They, look, there's over 500,000 people dead. Maybe 1 million. There's over 500,000 beautiful people dead over there. And, good people like us, good Christian people. Okay. And that is what the super wealthy want. That is the culling of humanity. That is this depopulation agenda. I mean, that's the only get started. Of course, they're talking billions with a B. They want to really, really reduce the supply or the amount of humans here. But how do you do that? You start by taking out the youngest, the bravest, the most fertile, the ones who can fight. And on that note of being ready, guys, especially to the men out there, you need to be staying in shape. You need to be ready. You need to be on a workout regime. Okay. You need to be in tip-top form, because that's the times that we're in. As a kid, I always thought, oh, it'd been nice if we were in revolutionary times. Well, I'll be darned. Here we are. We got an open border. We have now, and I've said this for months, that all three parts of the government were not working for us. I've said it many times. The Supreme Court was the only one people could argue, oh, no, they're still working for us. Well, you saw yesterday with the ruling that that they could cut the razor wire, that the Supreme Court is definitely not working for us. They sided with the Biden administration on, and here's the thing, guys, whether you like Biden or not, we should be able to have a border. I mean, I think that's pretty universal, right? I mean, I think it's pretty universal. Every country should have a border.
Have a border, and we have a country. So we have a country that has a border, or we just get walked over, and that wouldn't be too pretty, would it?
Wouldn't be too pretty. So this is gate 36. From what I understand, this was taken the day before the Supreme Court came out, but you can see this is gate 36, and they just opened the door. What's
so they've opened up the gate at gate 36 right here. And there goes the group of people who crossed illegally into the United States. They have opened the gate for them. They're heading into the transport van where they will be processed and paroled out into a city near you guys. So they've opened up the gate at gate 36.
Yeah,
right.
it's pretty tactical.
There goes the group.
I mean, it is a
select where to place them. It's very tactical.
Well, and so they went ahead, and of course they shut down Eagle Pass, or they took over Eagle Pass, right? And so now you have they just, of course, sent the migrants up the way. So gate 36 is obviously not at Eagle Pass. It's up the border from it. And so, I mean, it is just absolutely crazy. Really, what is going on? I mean, if we don't have a border, if anybody can come in, and guys, even think about all right, we have, everybody pretty much knows at this point that we're at war by proxy with Russia, right? We're at war with Russia. And then we're at war with the entire Middle East by proxy with Israel, right? So we're at war with a lot of people. Yeah. A lot of people, what, you don't think that those governments are coming in through an open border? Of course they are. Of course they are. These people are not stupid. You don't have one of these countries and not be smart. Okay, these people are very smart people. So of course they're coming in, they're going to bide their time, and they're going to hit when the time is, they think the time is right. So just absolutely crazy. It makes you think that it must be on purpose. And if it is on purpose, then who's behind it? And then I go back to the central banks. because the central banks are controlling the purse strings. And they're the ones who control what can get paid for. You see with Biden doesn't need anybody. He doesn't need anybody to pay for whatever he wants, or whatever the military or whoever you want to say is at charge. The administrative state is the word I was looking for this morning. The administrative state, the deep state, the administrative state, the ones who don't get elected, the ones who just work for the state. They don't need Congress to approve the money. All they need is the central bank to give them the money, and that's simple. And when the central bank gives them the money, it steals it from you and me, and that's the other thing that people don't realize. It just takes it from you and me. If there's $1,000 US running around and they print 10,000 more, what do you think happened to the value of your $1,000? You just got diluted by 10x. You're not worth as much. Money is not worth as much. And that's the paper fiat currency. Is a big scam. It's a big scam. You need to do what you can. The monetary revolution, I talk about it on stages around the world. The monetary revolution is how we take the power back from these people peacefully, without making a mess. It's the monetary revolution, guys. And the way that you participate in the monetary revolution is you take the US dollars. You don't need to run on the bank, okay? Take the US dollars that you can afford to miss, and you put them in gold, and you put them in silver, and you put them in old blockchains, not these new ones that they're going to pump to infinity. It's okay to make some money on those. They're going to pump them to infinity to try to get the old ones, the Bitcoins, the Litecoins, the global boosts, okay, that they can't seize, they can't freeze, and they can't take by court order. And that's why you see the massive run up in these prices on these assets. But that's the monetary revolution, because if we could take our value out of the US dollar and we hold it in something that can't be inflated, then when they inflate it, we don't feel it as much, okay? And it makes that inflation less and less valuable. And the US dollar, I mean, who knows? Who knows what the future holds on this thing? Crazy, crazy times. This is, here, I wanted to share this. Go to @costmetals.club and sign up. It's free to sign up. Go to @costmetals.club. It'll forward you to @costmetals.com with the referral link clubs with an S. Sign up. Buy gold and silver at cost. Palladium, platinum, gold, silver. Go to Global Boost with a dot between the O and the ST, Global Boost. Get involved. You can get some of the coins there. There's max of like 29 million Global Boost coins, very similar to Bitcoin, same setup. This is how we can fight back, guys. And I had somebody message me and they go, oh, well, when the EMP attack happens, this is going to be, it won't work anymore. It's not going to work. And the truth is, guys, and I'll just show you how I answer that, because it's important that everybody understands this, because this is like the boogeyman stuff. They try to keep you away from this stuff, but this is really important. This is important because this may save you one day soon. We're in crazy times. He says, crypto will collapse when the shadow government blows their EMP weapon and knocks out the grid. I said, everything will collapse when that happens. 90% of US dollars are digital, like the ones in your bank account. Good luck getting those as well. The US dollars printed on paper has no intrinsic value. And the 10% that survives, that's the paper stuff. Because remember, 90% of the US dollar is all digital already. Anyway, okay? So of the 10% that survives, if we do have an EMP attack, who knows if it'll be useful or not? Gold and silver may still be used. As well, old blockchains like Bitcoin, Litecoin, Global Boost, not the new tokens, will still exist intact on computers around the world. So once you're able to get to a computer, all those coins are still going to be there in the same wallet. And if you've stored them correctly and remember your seed phrase, you will be able to access those coins. You're not going to be able to send gold and silver, okay, but you are going to be able to send coins. So we don't know, okay? We're not financial advisors, okay? This is not financial advice. This is us talking to you about how we can win, how we can take the power back from these people. If there's no way to send anything, and you have these coins that you can send and you can hold, and there's only so many of them, and that survives, and I think that's going to be valuable, okay? This is extremely powerful for times like these. In general, you need gold, silver, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Global Boost, and you also need some cash, because who knows, okay, what may happen. But pretty interesting stuff. This is Roger Stone. I wanted to play this as well. This is him. I was talking about this a little bit earlier. Roger Stone says the GOP is trying to install Nikki Haley as Trump's VP. I said, would she be worse than Mike Pence?
What the hell's Nikki Haley doing?
Oh, man.
She's hanging on to try to be vice president is what she's doing. Well, I couldn't agree more, but she is the epitome of the Bush, Cheney, when's the next foreign war wing of the Republican Party. And they, I think, would try to force her on the ticket. I think she's going to get beat tomorrow in New Hampshire by, I don't know, 18, 19, 20 points. And then we head to her home state, where I think she's going to get shellacked It's not incidental that the governor of South Carolina, Henry McMaster, very good guy, lieutenant governor, most of the members of his cabinet, most of the leaders, all the leaders of their legislature were all in New Hampshire yesterday and today campaigning against Nikki Haley.
Oh, what the hell's Nikki Haley doing?
Against Nikki Haley. I mean, anytime I showed the other day during our show, she's they didn't write any bad press about her infidelities coming up, which I'm pretty easy with all that stuff. I really don't think it should be part of the discourse, but it is certainly very telling that there's no reports about it at all. If Donald Trump or one of these other guys if Donald Trump, let's say, because that's one they really don't want, had been busted with two more girls. I mean, he's had plenty, but that would be front page news. If you Google Trump and went to news, it would be everything was talking about that in his court cases, right? I mean, that would be all of it. So that means that she has total control, or she's totally bought by these people. Trump says he will do rapid deportations of illegal border crossers. Says he will fully implement Title 42. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't think he'll touch it. Of course, it does make for the keywords that a lot of his supporters would like to see done. But when it comes down to it, it's not something he's going to be able to actually do with all the people that are there in D.C.
Well, that's really the problem, right? It's the administrative state. It's the deep state, which is the administrative state. It's and I played our old friend, our late friend John McAfee this morning, and we talked about it. It's the people that work for the IRS. It's the people that work for the government. People that work for the SEC. It's people that work, all these different agencies. So he would really need to come in and fire 90-something%, high 90s% of everybody. And that's, he needs to close the FBI, which he can close the FBI fairly easily. It was just started by executive order. But now we're talking about, is he really going to be able to do that? Are they going to go peacefully? No. Will that be the Civil War? Or are we already in one? But anyway, let's hear what he has to say.
And furthermore, I'll fully implement Title 42 across the entire southern border based on all of the diseases that illegal aliens are bringing in. It's unbelievable that even the judge in the case said, do you know what you're doing? Because the Biden administration wanted it terminated. And the judge wouldn't do it, but it terminated itself. Judge can't do anything about that. Judge said, you know what you're doing by asking for this? And we will have to do rapid deportation of all of these border crossers. But we have people that are very seriously ill with contagious diseases, and they're pouring into our country along with all of the rest. We have no idea who these people are. Nobody cares. Nobody cares on the other side. They can just come in. And furthermore, I'll fully implement Title.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rough. Like you said, nobody cares. They're not even checking, looking into them as a person, and they're going to be living as a neighbor to you. And it's good when you can choose your neighbors and not just be forced somebody that's nearby. I had a friend end up with a bad neighbor, and now he's no longer with us. A neighbor attacked him and killed him, attacked him and his wife. And you never know what kind of situation you're going to be confronted with.
That's right. You never know what kind of situation you're going to be confronted with. It's very, very true. It is a big, big problem. And that's really one of the other things, when you look at this influx of people that are coming in here, we have no idea who they are.
Yeah. Next thing you know, their hand could be on your throat, and what are you going to do then? What
are you going to do? Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's absolutely crazy that in order to get a visa, you have to go through, all these processes. And in order to come in illegally, you can leave your passport on the other side of the fence in Mexico and just waltz in.
You don't even have to leave your passport. You bring your passport with you. It's completely fine. But isn't that the situation, though? You'll likely have to wait a year, couple of years to get a visa if you even get approved, when the answer is clearly just go in illegally, do it that way. And that's just not a good situation that we have going on here.
I mean, it's crazy. Oh, I wanted to share this one over here. Where's this one? Look at this. Look at this. They're leaving the passports. They're just dropping off their passports right over here. And as David was saying, you don't even need to leave your passport. You can just bring it in. Look at this. Look at this.
Yeah, I mean, you might want that later. I wouldn't have tossed it if I were them.
It's craziness.
Wait till they get stuck in America. Then they're gonna be like, shoot. Oh, why did I leave my passport?
I know, right? Well, that's the thing is obviously we don't care about these people. Hold on, here we go.
It's amazing. I saw a video on YouTube of a YouTuber down by the border, and there are thousands of IDs right before they come across the border. They would toss them so no one had any way of identifying.
passports?
Passport, IDs. You could see this person's from China. This person's from Brazil. The patrol guy was like, they come here through this area. This is where they know to toss their IDs. Then they come across and say, I'm a refugee, and no one has any way of verifying.
People of this country need to understand that this is coming into their backyard. This person's going to be in their backyard under a different name, and you don't know what kind of criminal history this guy's got.
It's amazing. I saw a video on YouTube.
Yeah, it's really something else, right? I mean, sometimes people say, "Oh, you don't need to be able to defend yourself." Like, and I'm like, well, what if we were in the room and then all of a sudden, bam, someone freaks out, and you're not able to defend yourself from this person freaking out?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because the rest of the world gave up the right to defend themselves doesn't mean that we should. Okay, especially with, I mean, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. And the other thing that this does is, of course, it just creates this whole level of bureaucracy to take care of these people. And then this whole level of weight on the rest of us, because how are these people going to eat? How are they going to house themselves? What about disease and all of these things? Like, these people are going to need medical attention. And who pays for that? Like, we pay for it. I don't see how it plays out anyway good. I can tell you that right now. Make your money while you can. Speaking of, Gary Gensler gives some cryptic messages today on, or I thought cryptic anyway, on whether or not the Ethereum ETF will be approved. You decide here. I said Gary Gensler gives cryptic comments about the potential approval of the Ethereum ETF. Speculation is soaring that the ETH ETF could launch along with the Bitcoin halving. Seems likely that most top blockchains will get an ETF. Do you think this is a good thing? We'll talk about that, but let's listen to this.
People are now talking about whether there should be an Ethereum ETF and the like. Is that something you think you would take on proactively? Is that something that ultimately, in the same way that Grayscale had to go to court, does the court decision around Bitcoin to you act as a precedent on other currencies?
I look at what we did this week as it's cabin to one non-security commodity called Bitcoin, like we've had gold, spot, exchange-traded products, and silver exchange-traded products in the past and approved in the past. This is cabin just to that one non-security commodity token.
People are now talking about whether there should be.
I'll tell you what, there certainly will be an Ethereum ETF. The fact that he's going to sit there and say it's going to be, I think that it's just attached to this one, blah, 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 blah. And of course, Ethereum is, there was more, well, first of all, they did a raise, right? And then second of all, they enabled all kinds of different ICOs, but somehow it's not a security. Is it's pretty interesting. But I think probably by April, by the halving, we're going to have a Ethereum ETF. You're going to have a lot of speculation that goes on in that over the next few months. They're more than likely we'll see Ethereum hit its all-time high, or at least a nice, good run-up. What do you think?
Yeah, it's pretty funny. This guy, I feel like he keeps losing his arguments, and thank God they're at a court ruling and not just something that he can completely dictate. So for him
he is basically dictating it, but yeah.
But for him to say that he doesn't think it's going to happen probably is a good indicator. Like you said, Ethereum definitely, there's too much technology in that blockchain, Ethereum, what it's done. There's way too much money to even like not want it to be an ETF, and I think that we'll see it over the next year. It'll be the buzz probably throughout the year.
Yes, I think so. I don't think they're going to be able to hold themselves back. I think it'll be before the end of the year, but yeah, definitely by the end of the year. Now you can see it's been following this trend. Of course, Bitcoin has been seeing the top. I'll go right over here. Bitcoin, we hit, let me go on the daily. We hit 48,696 on Binance. And then, of course, sharp decline. You can see Grayscale sold. A lot of the Bitcoins that Grayscale bought, they bought for literally for half or even a third of the price. And then people bought those shares of Grayscale at a 40% discount a lot of times because it was very unclear what was going to happen. And so that's massive profit taking there. And as well, planned. Okay, when you see stuff like this doesn't happen on accident. So this, in my not so humble opinion, as I always say, is again the central banks really removing a lot of the currency from the market using Bitcoin. They do it very effectively with Bitcoin. Now, if I zoom more in here into like an hour, you can see we hit 38.55, starting to rebound a bit. Most of us expect continued pressure on the market at least till the end of the month, probably longer. It is kind of you had to be in for a long time to know this, but it is usually you have a run up and then it pulls back before the halvening, and then the halvening happens, which is the supply squeeze, and then that takes a little while to play out. But there's so much big money involved that it is hard to say exactly what's going to happen, because you come to the table with billions and billions of dollars and really unlimited supply of US dollars from the treasury, right? Or whoever, from the central bank, that you can print up and do whatever with the market. Anything can happen. And now, we talked about it a little bit with Matt this morning, but when you have big players like we have now, these ETFs in the market, they are going to be able to, and they are able, you can see, this is mostly Grayscale sell-off that we're looking at right here. They are able to manipulate the market a lot. And so the market is now, I think, will be changed. And we may have a situation where it pulls back a bit. And then I think it will probably skyrocket. That's what we're all betting on. Very limited supply on these. Now, Ethereum, again, this is not Bitcoin. It can be seized by court order. It can be frozen if they think you're doing bad stuff, all this stuff. No, I'm sorry. I went back to the Bitcoin chart. This is the Bitcoin chart. But Ethereum, I do expect to, this is the Ethereum chart. I do expect to do well, although probably in for a bit more pullback before that. Doggy, one of the favorites of all people, the doggy coin.
That is a real fan favorite.
It is a fan favorite. It's hanging out there, 7, 8, 9 cents, 10 cents. Not for the, I think like having some exposure to these things is good though. But really, guys, Bitcoin Litecoin, other coins like that, like Global Boost. Obviously that's our coin, so full disclosure, but I think everybody knows that by now. And we're not saying it could go to a trillion or whatever, okay? Not financial advice and all that stuff, but this is one way that we can fight back. You see Litecoin there, 64.99. Yeah, I mean, these markets, and you can do pretty well riding this chop, or trading these pullbacks. And we have Matt on in the morning. What I might start to do is play a little bit of Matt's stuff in the afternoon. I know it gets pretty late for him, but the charts almost always will make sense. So whether it's like a black swan event or an international, whatever is happening, it usually does play along and do what you expect it to do. Now, speaking of what is going on in the broader world, of course, we have this war in Israel. Israel lost, I think, from all reports. I'm not following it that closely, to be honest with you, but they lost their biggest day yesterday. They lost like 24 men or something like that in the fight, and so that is going. They're going to continue that war. War always is more costly. It's more costly in money. It's more costly in lives. And it's more costly. Your political price is always more than you think it is. I mean, they'll always sit there and be like, oh, we're going to go in and, this and that. And you would think, of course, that Israel would have been able to wipe out these guys in this little teeny area of Gaza. And it just hasn't played out like that. I mean, just the onslaught of just bombings, tens of thousands of people. I mean, even if you want to say the numbers are fake, okay, take 25 or 30,000 that they're saying right now, cut it in half, okay, you're still at 10, 15,000 people dead people, kids, women, it's just absolutely horrible. And it's not to take anything away from what happened in order to start it. And that was horrible too. It's horrible. War is horrible. We all need to talk to each other and deal with each other. Prosperity. That's what Trump did well. It was peace through prosperity. A lot of people say it was peace through strength, but it was peace through prosperity. And when people are making money, they don't have time to go drop bombs on each other. They don't have time to go and do all of these other horrible things. They're having kids. The wife is saying this, the kids are this. They want to go and participate in society. They want a life for their kids. That is one thing that across all people, you and David and I have been around the world. We've been to over 30 different countries. And that is one thing I can say across all people. Everybody wants safety. They want prosperity, and they want a future for their generations to come. They want their kids and their grandkids and their great grandkids to have the same thing, to have prosperity, to have a safe place to live. And so those are the things that we need to focus on. And that's how we win, guys. That's how we can make our way forward. But one of the main things that we need to do, and we talk about it every day as we come out here, is, guys, the US dollar right now is what's funding all the wars. It is what they're using to, when people say, oh, Bitcoin's used for this or used for that. Nothing as much as the US dollar, okay? The US dollar is used for all kinds of just horrible things, okay? And you have no control. You have no control over it. So easy ways to get involved. Of course, go to Global Boost, globalboo.st, get involved there. We also have At Cost Metals, okay? At Cost Metals. I'm going to play one of their promo videos here. We are still in pre-launch with At Cost Metals, okay? And you can get in and start securing your spot to buy metals at cost, and you can have it shipped to where you are. Just
wanna thank you. Oh, Lord, just wanna thank you. I wanna thank you for being mighty, mighty good to me. Being good to me. Being, being good to me.
If you don't like crypto, if you're scared of crypto, if you're scared of Bitcoin, if you're scared of Litecoin, if you're scared of doing that, get some gold, get some silver, get out of the US dollar. We don't need to run on the bank, guys, okay? But we need to secure ourselves. They're going to keep printing money, and they're going to take it off of your backs. And the way that you fight back in the monetary revolution is by taking the power back. This is how you
Hey there, future affiliates. Let's talk about pre-registration. It's a tad different from what the process will be at our official launch. But don't worry, we're here to guide you through the steps to ensure a seamless registration and sign up. First things first, you'll need the link or referral code from the person who introduced you to at Cost Metals. If you use the link, it'll take you directly to the sign up page. If not, no worries. Just head to our homepage, click on sign up, and enter the referral code. Here's a pro tip. The referral code that you used to join will be displayed at the top of the page. It's a great idea to double check this before you start filling in all your details. This will ensure your proper placement in the genealogy. Next, you'll enter your basic contact information. Be sure to double check the placement settings at the bottom to align with your building preferences. They are the default settings you use to place your referrals. You can select either outside bottom left or outside bottom right. And if you want to activate your holding tank, you can do that too. The maximum time for using the holding tank is 24 hours. It's also important to note that you'll be placed into the genealogy only after you've verified your email and added funds. It is a good idea to add more than $25 worth of Bitcoin, Doge, or Litecoin. You can send more and use those funds to verify the accounts of your referrals or towards any purchases in the future. Doing this helps to speed things up. It is faster and cheaper to use Litecoin and Doge. We will also be adding debit, credit, and ACH options. Keep in mind, your referral link won't function until your email and proper payment amount is verified and you are placed in the genealogy. We've put these measures in place to prevent the genealogy from being flooded with free accounts. And remember, the funds you sent are not a fee for early access. The funds you send are there to activate your account at launch or to use with any transactions in the future. Thanks for joining. We look forward to working with you.
We do look forward to working with you. And guys, as I said, if you're scared of crypto, okay, and crypto can be a ride. All right, you can go up, you can go down, you can go all around. The other way that we fight back in the monetary revolution is to diversify into metals, into gold, into silver. And with this at Cost Metals, atcostmetals.com is the main site, atcostmetals.club forwards to our club's referral link, okay? But you can hold it at the vault, or you can have it shipped directly to you at cost. So really important, guys, in order for us to fight back peacefully in the monetary revolution is what we're in. Get involved today. Love you guys. See you tomorrow. Sir David.
Fantastic. Bruce, you're a revolutionary hero. We'll see you soon.
Your voice is powerful. When combined with social engagement, it's a force for change. Decentralized media paired with free speech is the catalyst for an empowered world and a unified, invaluable ecosystem. Join Global Boost, become a champion of free speech, and help to reshape the future of media.